Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Garrett Smith, also known as the nutrition detective around these here YouTube parts. And boy, we have a show that's kind of all over the place today. We've got testimonials. We've got Megan Stevens' video on her gerbil experiment. We've got stuff about alcohol and nickel. And then I think we've got some other stuff. Oh, nickel affecting body temperature regulation for all you cold people. So yeah, we're going to go over all sorts of interesting stuff today. So let me double check what I wanted to hit on first. Oh yeah, Joe's got some new graphics for us. So there's Joe's new graphic for us. And if you want to get the links page, you can click on, you can scan the QR code if you want. Joe thought that would be cool. So yeah, so we'll get to it too. And Joe will also post the doc link in the chat so you guys can get it, and it'll be there too. So first thing I wanted to go over, Joe, you got the Nickel City picture? Let's pull that up. So Kelsey and I were in Phoenix this weekend, which is part of why today's topic is we were at a resort watching lots of people drinking lots of alcohol, and that's part of what stimulated today's thing. But we were driving down the road in Phoenix, and we came across a wig shop that had this out on their sign. And Kelsey and I were like, oh, we got to go back and get a picture of it. And we weren't sure we were going to get it. And I made it back to that area, and I got the picture of Nickel City, baby. Now, I have no idea what this is in reference to. I don't know. Maybe it's the name of the shop or whatever, but I just thought it was hilarious, and we just had to take a picture of it. So yes, this is a legit real sign in Phoenix. So there's that. So next thing, oh, hello, Kelsey. Nice to have you here. Yeah, so everybody, thanks for coming to the live chat. Oh, Baptized in Fire says my nickname in middle school was Ass Freeze. LOL. Nice. That's a good one. So yes, let's get into Megan Stevens' video. So I forgot to do this last week. I meant to do it last week. Maybe I even meant to do it for 2 weeks, and it kept slipping my mind. So this is the thumbnail for it, and I wanted to read so you guys can go watch it. So what is Megan Stevens doing? She is doing a literal gerbil experiment where she is recreating the low vitamin A diet that supposedly proved that humans need, animals and humans need vitamin A. So what I have here, Joe, if you want to show it, I'm gonna I don't know if I can zoom in on this. No, doesn't look like it. Anyway, I'm just gonna read the info box on it because it's not too long, so you guys know what it's about. I would highly suggest going and subscribing to her channel. She is a huge fan, and she has helped me out with a lot of so she's helped me out with testing some things and other stuff like that. So let's go over this. Scientists said this diet would kill them. They were wrong. 0 vitamin A for 1 year. My gerbil experiment update. In gerbils, you can get much closer to a 0 vitamin A diet than humans. Did a flawed 1925 study create a nutrition myth? Joe, I can't zoom. Oh yeah, I guess I can. I can still go in. Okay, there we go. So, sorry about that. For over a year, I've been raising gerbils on a diet containing virtually no vitamin A to test one of nutrition's most accepted assumptions that animals and humans cannot survive and thrive without dietary vitamin A. In this update, I share the latest results from my ongoing animal experiments. You'll meet the gerbils that have now lived 1 year on a 0 vitamin A diet. Here's some surprising news on a breeding industry, and get introduced to the next phase of the project. Young mice beginning the same dietary protocol at just 3 weeks of age. I also revisit the famous 1925 Wolbach and Howe study, a foundational experiment often cited as proof that vitamin A deficiency causes disease and death in animals and humans. After years of studying the historical literature and conducting my own experiments, I believe the original study had significant flaws, including unrecognized vitamin A exposure and issues related to feed quality and rancidity that confounded the results. I would also say there was a complete zinc deficiency in it. When you look at the diet, there is no zinc. And there's no taurine either. So there's definitely the idea that if they were eliminating vitamin A from it, and they didn't even know what vitamin A was, that they could somehow remove it, even though it can change forms that they didn't know existed. Yeah, the bad experiment. And that's basically that's the stuff. So yeah, zinc. I think that study was 1925, and then it wasn't until I think 1934 or 1936 that there was a paper that came out that was talking about zinc as being a crucial element for animals. And a lot of the vitamin A deficiency symptoms that people and animals get are literally zinc deficiency symptoms. So Megan is not making that mistake with this. So great. And then we have, okay, so let's get into the testimonials for today. We have a couple of really cool testimonials early on in the nickel detox stuff. So here we are. Let's get into this one. This first one is kind of short. Joe, I don't know how you're going to show it. If you're going to show your new graphic or the Google Doc. But hold on. Kelsey, you're not the only one watching. No, there's other people. Here, let me see. I can see how many are watching. I thought I could. 53 people watching right now, Kelsey. So I don't know why you can't see them in your live chat. But anyway, here we are on the testimonials doc. And Joe can link that too. So here's the first testimonial. These are from inside the Love Your Liver program. It's a private network. You want to join there. You want to join the nice place on the internet where people help each other out instead of all the trolling and nonsense parts of the internet. Then you got to join the Love Your Liver program to get in there. But that's where these are posted. Here we go. I've been doing a 500 milligram dose of flush niacin. So I added that flush niacin. She didn't mention the flush niacin, but it's niacin, flush niacin added to an enema. And there we have research on this, and it does amazing things to heal the gut. So once a week for 3 months now, only benefits. My relationship with food is changing, less cravings. I am successfully off chocolate. That's important. My body knowledge is improving, less hungry and more intuitive. No emotional connection to foods like 2 years ago, and for sure 5 to 6 years ago. If I happen to get dairy, my body will dispel what it can sneeze and blow my nose. The low nickel diet has made my belly flatter, more soft. So for those of you who used to think that it was fiber that was causing you to get like a distended belly or a bloated belly or there's stuff like that, you're kind of right. But what you're really actually having is a nickel reaction. You're having a reaction to the nickel in the fiber. Higher fiber foods tend to carry more nickel. That doesn't mean you can't get the nickel off the fiber, just like you can get toxic metals off of zeolite and charcoal by cleaning them properly. So you can have clean zeolite and clean charcoal. That's what we sell. We sell a cleaned zeolite. So anything that is encountered in nature is cleaned off of it. It's not very hard to do. But nickel can come off of high fiber foods, and that is what causes your digestive issues. I can attest to this too. I feel the same way. So now we have a long testimonial from a lovely woman. I will not say her name. If she's here in the live chat, she can say who she is if she chooses to. Into this, she's been one of our she got onto the low nickel diet as soon as I mentioned it, and she went through the rough patches that Kelsey and I did very early on too, and before I knew how to fix it. And then she tried the Pectaclear, which we now have in our store. She got on the Pectaclear and it helped. And so I'll let her say it. I'm 56 years old, married, a mother of 7, and nana to 13 grandchildren. That's a lot. I've always been active since my early 20s, and I began focusing on healthy eating. I've tried lots of diets through the last 30 plus years, everything from low calorie to high calorie, low fat, high carb to high fat, low carb, HCG diets to keto diets, gluten-free and dairy-free to a Weston Price Nourishing Traditions diet. I took herbs and supplements daily, such as berberine, turmeric, chlorella, spirulina, echinacea, golden seal, ashwagandha, astragalus, milk thistle, vitamin C, and vitamin for many years. How many of you out there are very similar to this? That's what we ran across all take out carbs, then you're left with keto. And if you take out, everything else, then you're left with vegan. Anyway, I did the same thing. So there's nothing absolutely spinning your wheels. Why does this work for a month or 2 or 3 and then it stops working? Or why does nothing work anymore? Why does everything I try from every extreme and every supplement, all this stuff not work? This is you're in the right place because we fixed that. My healthy lifestyle gave me white hair and a Hashimoto's hypothyroidism diagnosis, complete with 30 milligram Armour thyroid prescription before I hit my late 30s. I decided to quit taking the thyroid meds in 2010 at the age of 40 and by hair because it would make me feel very sick within days of treatment. In the fall of 2024, my doctor recommended iodine to naturally support my thyroid. Folks, if you have any kind of thyroid problem and you take any kind of autoimmune thyroid problem and you take iodine, it makes it worse. It's all over the research. Stop adding iodine to try to fix your thyroid. You have a toxicity problem. But I used to do this in practice. So I'm saying I did this in practice with people. The super high, iodoral, which is the similar stuff as Lugol's. Okay. I immediately did research and decided, per the advice of many online doctors and experts in the thyroid space, to take daily super high doses of Lugol's iodine/iodide, approximately 75 milligrams a day. That's a lot, which I did for about 6 months. And let me tell you, I felt fantastic. She's about to go into the duration paradox when it all falls apart after that. My hair was full and thick. I was losing weight and I had loads of energy. Then my blood results came back with a TSH of 36. It's driving her hypothyroid. Normal TSH lab values ranges are typically a 0.5 to 4.5. So I quit the iodine, began to lose tons of hair, experienced major fatigue, and gained some weight. I was a hot mess. The doctor put me back on thyroid meds at a 60 milligram daily dose. Once again, I was chasing health and ended up sick. I believe I have a whole show on iodine. Here, I'm pretty sure I've done one. Folks, the iodine thing, yes, it helped her for a while, but if you guys have done it before, what you find is they have to keep upping the dose of iodine. And 75 milligrams is a lot. The standard dose, I think the one pill a day is 12 and a half milligrams of iodine in an iodoral pill. So she was on a lot. But what they do is they have to keep upping their iodine dose to keep basically whipping a dead horse. Their thyroid is dying, and they just have to keep whipping it to keep it going. That's why her TSH was going up. She had to get more and more stimulation to her thyroid to get the same thyroid hormone output out. Yes, she was feeling better, but that was going to end. And then she was on more Armour thyroid. And folks, nobody needs 75 milligrams of thyroid a day to run anything. That's not a replacement dose. That's a drug dose. Nothing, no two ways about it. Then in the spring of last year, 2025, a friend of mine suggested I consider the low vitamin A diet. That's a good friend. She pointed me to the Nutrition Detective live streams. I binge watched almost every episode from beginning to end and was convinced that Dr. Smith was onto something that made scientific and biological sense. So by the fall of 2025, I became an LYLL member and started eating a low vitamin A diet. In January of this year, 2026, I ordered a blood and hair mineral analysis test kit and consultation with Kelsey. You can find those on our website under consultations. With her supplement and lifestyle recommendations, my weight and energy stabilized. Oh, she's also in the live chat if you want to ask her any questions. Inflammation came down. She's Gem Fairy in there. Inflammation came down. I started having an opposite reaction to the thyroid medicine. Instead of energy and mental clarity, alertness like I had at the start, I was experiencing brain fog and fatigue. So the okay, well, let me hit on this. Lab tests showed I needed to lower the dosage of my thyroid medication from 60 milligrams to 30 milligrams. We help people fix their thyroids, folks. She was starting to, instead of the thyroid medication helping her. Do you remember the dog testimonial? Where the last episode, you should go watch that. If you love dogs and you want your health to be better, go watch that last episode. So they were giving the dog prednisone. And the prednisone back in the day when the dog was super toxic used to reduce the inflammation. But as the dog was getting healthier after low vitamin A and low nickel, the prednisone started actually causing an inflammatory reaction. So, thyroid, we have lots of people who, as we are helping them to fix their thyroid, truly fix their thyroid, they actually often, she got fatigue and brain fog from the thyroid med, but a lot of people start to get hyperthyroid symptoms, which is where they feel like they're on way too much thyroid, because what's happening is their body is fixing their thyroid. And now they are over medicated. So they have to lower their medication dose. But you can also have a duration paradox effect, where something that used to help, as you get better, it starts to hurt you, or what we call something turning on you. So this was her thyroid med turning on her because she's getting healthier underneath it all. Here we go into the nickel stuff. In April of this year, after learning about nickel toxicity from Dr. Smith, so I want you to realize all that stuff she was getting before lowering the thyroid medication and all that, that was just low vitamin A. That was before the nickel. She dove straight into a low nickel diet and lifestyle. I'm currently 10 weeks into the nickel detox. The first 4 weeks were the hardest. Yes. I experienced the worst detox symptoms of my life. Severe stomach pain, nausea, cycles. Okay. I want you guys to listen to this, because people are still coming to me going, I don't know if this is the nickel detox or not, but I feel like crap in this way and 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 this way. I'm going to tell you, if you're doing the nickel detox and you don't feel good, especially if you're not doing Pectaclear or anything to like sop up the mess that is your body's trying to dump, just pay attention to this list of symptoms from the detox that this one person had, okay? Severe, this is what the nickel is doing to your body, basically, inside of you. You may not have these symptoms, but when you come out, the nickel is showing you where it's stored and where it's damaging you. So we have severe stomach pain, nausea, cycles of not being able to go to the bathroom to going too often, debilitating migraines, dry cough, sinus congestion, super dry skin, extreme fatigue, needing to take naps, brain fog, mood swings with really low lows, poor sleep, cycles of feeling ravenous to loss of appetite, aversion to meat, joint pain, muscle weakness. And my youngest son told me that for 2 solid weeks when I entered the room, I emitted an herbal smell like golden seal. That's the berberine coming out. I followed all the supplement and lifestyle suggestions Dr. Smith gave to help alleviate symptoms and support the removal of nickel from my system, which helped tremendously. So yes, you can. She was doing as I was doing and as Kelsey was doing before, most everybody else. She was doing the nickel detox, as I say, naked. She was just doing it, no protection, because we didn't know how to protect it. And she also comes to the office hours regularly, and I think she's in the inner circle. Yeah, I think so. And so she was coming there, and I was giving her stuff before it even came out on the live streams. And so that's what you can do. If you get in the inner circle, you get some of the things before I ever talk about them anywhere else. And that's inside the Love Your Liver program. But yeah, she's detoxing stuff out her skin. That's the berberine smell. I had multiple of these symptoms myself. This is not it sucks. It's not fun, but it's a good thing. It means the nickel is coming out of those areas. Okay. By week 5 of the detox, I hit a major turning point and relief. It was between weeks 5 and 6 that all the symptoms began to slowly disappear, with only faint hints of them coming back briefly. By week 8, I didn't even feel detox symptoms at all anymore. Now my energy is back. My weight has begun to go down, with my tummy becoming flatter. I have strength again in the gym. I'm getting an average of 11 to 12,000 steps a day. So gym and walking that much. My body temperature has increased. Wait, Peters, I want you to pay attention. I know you guys love to hate on me. We literally raise people's body temperature and get them off thyroid. This is the opposite of what Peters do. Peters, their dumb diet lowers their body temperature, and then they get on thyroid, and they tend to just keep increasing their thyroid. So they are going exactly the wrong direction. If you got sucked into the Pete world, folks, I did too. It's the Ray Pete diet. It's nonsense. It's garbage. It's infertility inducing. It only ever helps like 20 somethings and early 30 somethings, because they're the ones who can do the damage to their system and not suffer at the start. And then after that, it's a complete disaster. I have a whole video on the Ray Pete diet with infertility and other nonsense on it. We do the opposite of them. We raise metabolic rates and we get people off thyroid. They try to have people stuff their faces with they think Mexican Coke is a health food and ice cream is a health food. And then they wonder why everybody quits the Ray Peat diet and why Ray Peat wasn't the genius they thought after all. So anyway, and I can sweat more easily when working out or laying in the sun, which for a hypothyroid sufferer is a big deal. Yes, we help people sweat normally again. I'm eating meat again. I no longer have bloating or digestive upset every time I eat. She used to have that. That's got to be rough. Bowel movements are regular. My mood is great, and I'm consistently joyful. This I can attest to. The brain fog has lifted. I no longer smell like Golden Seal, LOL. My vitamin D levels have gone up by 10 points. I tested just before the nickel detox and 8 weeks after starting the detox, and my extremely high estradiol and testosterone levels have decreased during this time to a more normal level. Again, I tested before and after. My hair and skin are suddenly oily all the time, like when I was young. And lastly, pay attention to this part. Well, first of all, yeah, I'll get to that part. I need to go over the vitamin D thing. 3 dermatologists diagnosed seborrheic keratosis spots, aka skin barnacles, what a terrible name, have all spontaneously disappeared. They fell off, or they just went away. I have had those dark brown spots for the last 4 to 5 years, and they have not changed in all that time. But within 2 weeks, roughly between weeks 6 and 8 of the detox, all 3 suddenly just sloughed off and disappeared, and the skin underneath looks as though they were never there. This, quote, side effect seemed so crazy to me that I looked up the research on whether this is a common occurrence or perhaps it is the result of the detox. My humble opinion is that it is in fact a result of the detox. I'll come back to the vitamin D thing. Here are a few things AI found or said. There is very little research on the timeline of spontaneous regression because spontaneous regression of seborrheic keratoses is considered uncommon. We do uncommon stuff all the time. For example, Harvard Health explicitly states that seborrheic keratoses do not go away on their own and generally last a lifetime if not removed, right? People don't get off thyroid hormone ever either, but that seems to happen here. Likewise, Stat Pearls, a widely used medical reference, notes that seborrheic keratoses rarely resolve spontaneously. Multiple lesions changing together suggests a systemic influence more than a local one. Some documented cases of spontaneous regression occurred over about 6 to 8 weeks. These cases often involved inflammation, redness, itching, crusting, and then disappearance. When a seborrheic keratosis is merely losing its surface crust, there is usually still some evidence of the lesion underneath. Mine were gone in 2 weeks. I experienced none of those symptoms, and I can't even find where mine used to be. AI's opinion for what it is worth. Your case is actually closer to the published reports of regression, though it still doesn't tell us why the regression is occurring. What you're describing is different. The literature does not currently establish a connection between low vitamin A diets or low nickel diets and the regression of seborrheic keratosis. Gosh, why would they? Dermatologists wouldn't appreciate how that damaged their business now, would it? I recognize that I don't have any major illnesses or diseases, but if these few small things can change in just 2.5 months' time, I am convinced that going low nickel and low vitamin A are 100% worth it. I can't wait to see what other positive health changes occur in 6 months' time or in a year's time. Thank you for the many, many hours you invest in researching and sharing with us, Dr. Smith. You are very appreciated. Well, let me not forget to thank Kelsey in all of that as well. Kelsey, I was kind of joking the other day. I was like, Kelsey's finding all the new cool stuff. We have more new cool stuff coming. But then I thought, I was thinking about it and I was going, I kind of want to figure something out. And then I went, oh, wait, I caught on to the low nickel thing. So Kelsey kind of riffed on that, which is great. It's great teamwork. I used to feel like I riffed on other people, and then I would take what other people made and make it better. And Kelsey's doing the same thing with my stuff. So I really love having her around for that and for her just being herself. Yeah. So, okay, back to the vitamin D thing. So there was, I'm not going to say who it was, but there was somebody on, first of all, there's all these people out there, the anti-supplement people who say, why hasn't anybody ever taken a picture of a molecule of whatever, vitamin D or vitamin A or what? I'm pretty sure that that's not how chemistry works. You don't just get to take pictures of molecules. That doesn't work that way. Secondly, now the people who have taken the vitamin D as rat poison idea, which it is. I mean, supplemental vitamin D is literally rat poison, and they've taken it too far. And now they're saying that all the vitamin D they measure in your blood is from supplements, because that's what science created in their labs and synthesized. And so that's all they know as vitamin D. So when they measure, this is what they're saying. When they measure vitamin D in your blood, they're measuring supplement vitamin D. That is the biggest nonsense I've ever heard. I can't understand how somebody could come up with that, because then, so if somebody goes and uses a tanning bed or a tanning lamp or goes out in the sun and their vitamin D levels literally go up on the blood test, are they saying that somehow they're supplementing vitamin D? If this woman goes on a low nickel diet and 8 or 10 weeks later her vitamin D levels are 10 points up, and my people do not take vitamin D supplements, they do get sun exposure or UV exposure, and then we're taking out something else that is getting in the way of their entire detox system, and their vitamin D levels go up, somehow they're taking supplements? I'm going to tell you guys, the anti-supplement crowd, the people who are like, there's this thing called understanding nuance and actually understanding biochemistry and understanding that some things in the same family of compounds could be bad for you, but other things in that same family could be very, very good for you. Think of like niacinamide, which we would never use, which is what they fortify food with, and is like a recycled product that you don't want to add to the system. And then there's flush niacin, which is nicotinic acid, which is amazing. I'm going to go over a study sometime soon here where 6 months of using even the crappy pharmaceutical nicotinic acid cut down liver fat by 47% in 6 months. We're talking 2 different forms here. One of them is amazing, and it's like the stroke study where they gave pharmaceutical niacin, and I'm not advocating for pharmaceutical niacin. You want to do the crystalline stuff, the powder stuff, which is either you can get powder from like bulk supplements or you can get our supplements, our pills, but they all work the same. I mean, the pharmaceutical stuff has binders in it and other stuff like that has actually been shown to cause problems in the study, so you don't want to use that. But still, they took pharmaceutical slow-release niacin, the flush niacin, for 6 years. And then 9 years later, the people who, so 15 years later after they started, 6 years of niacin, 9 years after that, the people who took the niacin had they had a 15% lower risk of stroke, and there was something like 25% lower risk of heart attack and other cardiovascular diseases. 9 years later, so that's 6 years of taking the niacin and it detoxed them, reduced their risk of cardiovascular disease all over the place. That is what you want. So the anti-all supplement people, they're just wrong. And they're doing it like where, okay, so people go, well, I don't know what kind of plant foods to eat, so I'm going to eat carnivore. Okay. And then you have the people who go, I think muscle meat is bad. I don't want to eat animals, so I'm not going to eat any of it. And I'm just going to eat plants. And then they all get screwed up. Carnivore's better. Muscle meat carnivore is better, way better than vegan, but all muscle meat carnivore is still not doing what people are hoping or thinking that it's doing. You are not detoxing on an all meat diet. And you want to know how we know this? I just thought of this right now. Predators, meat eaters, are known to absolutely have the most toxic livers out there. What do they eat? Carnivore. I tell you that carnivore doesn't detox you. You are putting in the fewest amount of toxins dietarily, but anything you had before that, you're not getting rid of. And now we have the predators' livers to show us that I'm right. Okay. So, oh, right. Kelsey added another analogy. She said, let me find it in here. Let me find it. Can I scroll down? Oh, yeah. So here, Kelsey was saying we can't see 99.999% of the electromagnetic waves. We only see the sliver that's on the visible spectra. I guess those don't exist either, LOL. Yeah, so like, if I can't see it, it doesn't exist. Like, how much of these folks build their life and their stuff on chemistry that they will never see? The computer they're typing on, well, that chemistry doesn't exist. Have you ever seen a molecule of this specific type of plastic on a microscope? Sometimes people go a bit too far out of their area. I chemistry stuff, I let Kelsey handle it, and sometimes Kelsey's like, I don't know. So that's okay. You don't say that things don't exist because we can't see them under a microscope. Okay, so let me get to the next part. Oh, now we're going to get into the research. Yes. Okay. So we found some fun stuff. And okay, so I want you to pay attention first to, do you remember how I said, or how on the testimonial, this woman said her body temperature has come up without drinking Mexican Coke or shoveling white sugar into milk or eating ice cream or doing any of the other nonsense that, let's say, the Ray Peters do. We didn't have to do that. But let's look at this paper here. Hypothermia, that's low body temperature, and deranged circadian rhythm of core body temperature in nickel chloride treated rats. Wow, that title says a lot, doesn't it? Low body temperature and deranged circadian rhythm of the body temperature. Caused by what? Nickel. Okay, let's head through this. After one injection of nickel chloride, the core body temperature diminished to a nadir, that's the low point, at 1.5 hours and returned to baseline at 4 hours. Core body temperature at 1.5 hours post-dose averaged 3 plus or minus half a degree Celsius. That's a lot. Joe, can you look up, or can somebody tell me about how many degrees Fahrenheit 3 degrees is? Below the simultaneous value in control rats. During the period from 8 to 80 hours post-dose, the mean body temperature of nickel chloride rats did not differ from controls, but the amplitude of the diurnal cycle of body temperature was dampened, and the acro phase of the temperature cycle was delayed from 10:32 p.m. to 3 a.m. I believe what they're saying. So the average body temperature stayed the same, but the amplitude, so like, let's say the normal amplitude would be like a bigger wave, and they're saying it was a lower wave. So the high and the low was not as big as it's supposed to be. Okay, so you can still have the same average, but the high and the low points were not as high and low as they should be. These parameters returned towards the control values during the period from 80 to 152 hours post-dose. That's 3 days to like 6 days. Physical activity of rats was reduced during the period from 8 to 80 hours post-dose, and the amplitude of the diurnal cycle of physical activity was dampened. So they didn't do as much. They were tired. They didn't move as much. Is that you out there trying to get better and you're wondering, why do I not have energy? Why can I not exercise? Why does my exercise suck? I can tell you now on the low nickel diet, like my volume in the gym continues to go up. My capacity goes up, and my need for rest periods, which I used to kind of just determine on my own, is shrinking. So my workouts are getting quicker overall. Oh, and I found that study on jumping height. Did I show you the one on jumping height and nickel? Or was it nickel? No, it wasn't nickel. It's something else. We'll go over that. But the acro, I don't know what the acro phase is. I'm not looking that up. Was not retarded in symphony with the temperature cycle. This study shows that in addition to causing prompt hypothermia, low body temperature that lasts 4 hours, injection of nickel chloride deranges or messes up the circadian rhythm of thermoregulation of body temperature during 3 days after recovery from hypothermia, causing 4.5 hour delay of the temperature acro phase. Thus, the transient bout of hypothermia evidently sets back the biological clock of thermoregulation. So Joe found something here. 5.4 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you're supposed to be, if you're one of those people who is always cold, let's say you're one of those people, and there's nothing wrong with this, but we have some people who they rub this zinc and niacin salve is made of oils, like natural oils and beeswax. Okay, these things all melt if you warm them. They all soften and melt. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong for you folks who had this happen. There's nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with you. What I'm saying is that you're probably a very cold person. They take the zinc niacin salve and they can hardly get it out of the jar, and they try to rub it on their hand, or they try to rub it on their forearm, like I have the video of, and they say it doesn't ever soften. That's not the zinc niacin salve issue. It's your body temperature issue. Your body temperature is probably really low, and you probably already know that you have really cold hands and maybe cold skin in general. This is a thyroid problem. This is a body temperature problem. This is a nickel toxicity problem. This is a vitamin A problem. This is a copper problem. You want to fix those things. So if you can figure out how to warm it, if your skin won't do it, the zinc niacin salve does soften and melt. If your skin doesn't do it, you got to find something else to just warm it up a little bit, because your skin is not warm enough to do it. Okay. Joe, which one is blue is the control? Okay, you can show that image if you want, Joe. Can you get it on here? So Joe made this graphic of the from the nickel study here with the body temperature. Just remember, everybody's out there going, like we talked about people with the grip strength, and nickel lowers grip strength, and like grip strength is associated with longevity, and we're like, nickel lowers grip strength. Okay, and then now we have this. Everybody's like, you want a higher metabolic rate and a higher body temperature, and that's a sign of being healthier. Okay, nickel lowers your body temperature. So Joe was showing this, that the top one is the acute hypothermic response after nickel chloride injection, where it dropped, and that was the low point. And then we have the offset of the body temperature. So the blue is the control. This is normal. And like I said, you see how the peaks, so it's offset. The peak is offset, and the peak does not go as high, but the average is still about the same. Like, right, if you drew a line through all those humps, it would be about the same. Okay. So that's the visual. Joe just makes these as we're going. Thanks, Joe. So then let's get into the next one. Yes, this was a little piece of evidence that Kelsey found. I'm going to tell you, folks, if you are avoid convenience stores. Convenience stores are poison stores. So if you are buying anything at convenience stores other than maybe water, or if they have once in a while they'll have bananas, that's about it. Like, do not eat at convenience stores. I heard something. My brother told me he had learned that the 7-Eleven convenience stores, their food line is called Go Yum, which is very similar to another word, Go Yim, if you know what I mean. So, isn't that weird? So anyway, and then there's the Monster logo with the if you know the that alphabet, and it says 666 on the label. And then I was thinking about the other day, I was like, Red Bull. I know there's a prophecy of a red heifer. Really strange coincidences that are coincidences. So anyway, Red Bull, energy drinks in general, stay away from convenience stores. I swear they are extra poisoning people through the convenience stores. But so what do we have here? We have the energy drinks. So here's the paper from 2018, 8 years ago, monitoring metallic contaminants in energy drinks using ICP-MS. If you are out there, and first of all, if you don't understand that they have a plastic, like a plastic bag, the equivalent of a plastic bag as a liner on the inside of aluminum cans. So you're guaranteed microplastics if you're drinking out of aluminum cans. They're making everything in aluminum cans these days. And I'm going to tell you, do you remember when we just went over a week or two ago how nickel penetrates rubber gloves? Okay, so do you think nickel could penetrate plastic? I mean, yeah, the plastic liner. It can penetrate the plastic liner. It does. I don't care what they say. I can see it on hair tests. I see aluminum show up on hair tests. In this study, an improved method was validated for determination of some metallic contaminants: arsenic, chromium, cadmium, lead, iron, nickel, copper, manganese, and antimony. Wow, copper is a contaminant, huh? Manganese is a contaminant. Why are people out there pushing those as like essential minerals that you need more of? They might be wrong. In energy drinks using inductive coupled plasma mass spectrometry, the validation procedure was applied for the evaluation of linearity, repeatability, recovery, limit of detection, and quantification. The validated method was used to monitor for the determination of metallic contaminants in commercial energy drink samples. And these are, apparently the scientists either didn't want to get sued or just wanted to protect themselves, but they did not mention the actual energy drink brands in their results, from what I understand. So we have here the concentrations of these minerals, these toxic metals in the samples were found in the ranges of, so there's the ranges. We have nickel, 35.98 micrograms per liter, up to 304 micrograms per liter. That's like that's 9 or 10 micrograms per ounce. But look at all this. They got arsenic in them. I mean, nothing was zero. So they've got arsenic, chromium, cadmium, lead, iron, nickel, copper, manganese, and antimony. They got antimony in there. That's a radioactive one, if you believe in radioactivity. So, as cadmium and copper and antimony did not exceed the problem limits. However, the other elements, chromium, lead, iron, nickel, and manganese, were found to be higher than their relative limits at various levels. So they were higher than what's allowed in, I believe, just water, is what I think they're saying. So, and remember, I just went over all the farce that is the water standards for nickel and how they're raising it. Most places don't even have it set. Most places don't even have food limits set. So they're going by, the World Health Organization, who raised theirs by 3.5 times or 5 times. And then the European groups are raising their nickel limits, and they're still out of the range. So Joe did an image on it. Joe, you want to show that? So yeah, these were the ones that we've got. The chromium's high, the lead is high, iron's high, nickel's high, and manganese. And yeah, nickel. Yeah, so yeah, you are the carbon they want to reduce. The purpose of a system is what it does. Why are there toxic metals in energy drinks, which are one of the most processed foods out there? Kelsey was doing some research, and she found out that the Red Bull cans and I think the Monster cans are made in Germany and shipped over to the US for filling. Why would they do that? Why would cans are, lots of volume. So they wouldn't weigh a lot, but shipping does, volume is important. Like you can only if you want to fill a shipping container, there's only so much space you can do in a shipping container. It doesn't really matter. The weight is a factor, but there's only so much you can fit into a shipping container. And if it's all empty air, why are they doing that? Why does copper and nickel come up together like Kupfernickel, like the devil's nickel, as in like copper that they nickel that they thought was copper? So, yeah, don't do energy drinks. Oh, and then I talked about caffeine. Coffee specifically. Coffee, like if you buy it, if you do anything with coffee, whether it's the kettle, the electric kettle where you're cooking nickel into it via the heating element, or whether you're cooking it in a stainless steel pot, or whether you're buying it at Starbucks where they hold it and they made it in like stainless steel vats where the acidity of the coffee is leaching nickel into it. Basically, if you're drinking pre-made drinks, as we're going to go over with alcohol, you should assume that there's nickel in it. If you're getting lemonade from like, I actually got some Costco organic lemonade, and I was having a bit of it over the couple days because we were up in Phoenix and it was like 112 degrees. So yeah, I had some lemonade. I started getting like mild reflux, and me knowing what I know now, I'm like, wait, okay. Reflux is nickel. Okay. Lemonade, acidic. Do I think that the Costco organic lemonade producers are juicing lemons straight into the container? No, they're putting it in giant vats so they can standardize it and get the acidity right and get the flavor right and add the right amount of sugar and do it all right. So you have literally acidic lemon drink sitting in a stainless steel vat for who knows how long before it's bottled. And I went, oh yeah, so probably all the citrus juices, being that they're quite acidic and probably made in giant stainless steel vats, because that's what everybody does. They're not making any of it in glass, folks. It's leaching nickel. And that's probably why I started to notice over time I would get kind of some heartburn with citrus juice. Because I love limeade. I'm a bigger fan of limeade than I am of lemon. So yeah. So let's get into the other stuff now. So we did the body temperature, did the energy drinks. Oh, so let's go into the alcohol stuff. Is this it? Yes. So for those of you who remember in the detox episode where I went over how nickel slows down detox, I'm going to show you in these papers that what I said happens in humans actually happens in the making of alcohol. Effects of nickel oxide nanoparticles on bioethanol production. Process optimization, kinetic and metabolic studies. So here's what I would tell you, knowing what I know from the studies I went over before about how nickel inhibits detox. Alcohol dehydrogenase is what nickel inhibits. What does this mean? It means the alcohols before it don't turn into aldehydes. So you get a backup of alcohols, and you would make less aldehydes and therefore less acids as they go through the detox process. So when you make alcohol, you make ethanol, and that can turn into acetaldehyde, and then that turns into acetic acid, which is what is in vinegar. Okay? So let's just go through here. I thought I marked this. Didn't I mark this? I know I did. Yes. Nickel oxide nanoparticles, inclusion of nickel oxide nanoparticles, improved ethanol concentration up to 19%. So they're having, I think, probably Saccharomyces yeast making alcohol. I think that's what they were doing in this paper. So the more nickel, the more alcohol. I just told you that nickel blocks ADH, which bacteria and yeast and fungus have too. So it would back up the alcohol production, and there would be less of the aldehydes and less of the acetic acids, or the acids at the end. Nickel nanoparticles enhance total cell protein and carbohydrate accumulation, which they like to think is good. The presence of nickel nanoparticles substantially reduced volatile compounds concentration. They mean volatile fatty acids. Now, this is going to sound weird to you, but acetic acid is a volatile fatty acid. Let me find this. Here it is. A significant reduction in volatile fatty acid was observed in the presence of nickel nanoparticles. So remember, I said alcohol goes through ADH. That's inhibited. So you're going to back up alcohol. You're going to create more alcohol because it's not going through the detox process. Then you're going to make less acetaldehyde and you're going to make less acetic acid. Now, some of you might be saying, well, the vinegar stuff is not a fatty acid. Okay. Just this is a quick little AI search I did. I didn't go and find primary references on this one. Yes, acetic acid is considered a volatile fatty acid. It is the most abundant volatile fatty acid in many biological and industrial contexts, accounting for approximately 60% of volatile fatty acids produced in the rumen of ruminants. So in animals that chew their cud, cows, and roughly 85% of volatile acids in anaerobic digesters. So yes, it is water soluble and volatile. So yeah, acetic acid. So there's less acetic acid being made because you have specifically slowed down the breakdown of alcohol to aldehyde to acids. Okay. So that's just verifying that, yes, nickel inhibits detox even in fungus and yeast and bacteria and stuff like that. So let's get into the next one. Okay, so we're going to get into there's always been a connection between like throat cancers, various throat cancers, oropharyngeal cancer, other cancers here from tobacco, smoking tobacco, chewing tobacco, and alcohol. And there's lots of gastric cancer with these things too, but there's definitely a lot of laryngeal cancer, pharyngeal cancer, all that stuff. Tobacco contains nickel. As I'm going to show you after this, alcohol guaranteed has nickel in it, the way they make it. And we're going to go over, in a second, we're going to go over asbestos has nickel. And guess what happens when all those things get combined? What does nickel cause? Cancer. So, determination of nickel in the blood and serum samples of oropharyngeal cancer patients consuming, I believe they meant to say, smokeless tobacco products by cloud point extraction coupled with flame atomic absorption spectrometry. What do you think we're going to find about nickel in people who are chewing smokeless tobacco? Oropharyngeal cancer is a significant public health issue in the world. The incidence of oropharyngeal cancer has been increased among people who have a habit of chewing smokeless tobacco in Pakistan. So they're interested in helping their own people. Imagine that. Is that like nationalist? They're interested in their own people. That must be a terrible thing to be. That's sarcasm. The resulted data indicated that concentration of nickel was higher in blood and serum samples of cancer patients as compared to that of reference who have or have not consumed different SLT products. So they found nickel was higher in the cancer patients regardless of whether they had done smokeless tobacco products or not. Wow, so cancer is associated with nickel, huh? Okay. It was also observed that healthy reference who consumed smokeless tobacco products have 2 to 3 times higher levels of nickel in both biological samples, blood and serum, as compared to those who were not chewing smokeless tobacco products. So it's just smokeless tobacco is an easy way to raise your nickel. And then cancer is associated with more nickel in the system, whether or not you got it from smokeless tobacco or not. Okay, so there we have tobacco. So all you artist fans, yeah, you're in for a bad time. Nicotine nonsense. It's all a conspiracy to put down tobacco. Like, give me a break, dude. How are those big tobacco checks coming through for you? Tobacco, alcohol, asbestos, and nickel. Wow, that's weird. In the etiology, the cause of cancer of the larynx. So we had oropharyngeal, that's the pharynx and the mouth. And then we have the larynx, which is laryngeal. So both of your tubes, the tube to your lungs and the tube to your stomach. A case control study of laryngeal cancer was conducted in southern Ontario between 77 and 79 with 204 subjects with newly diagnosed cancer and 204 controls, individually matched by sex, age, and residence. Tobacco products and alcohol showed strong associations with cancer of the larynx for males, with relative risks for users of cigarettes, cigars, or cigarillos, pipes, and alcohol of 6.1 times more likely to get cancer of the larynx, 2.9, 1.6, and 5.2 respectively. So I guess you could say if you were gonna smoke, smoke a pipe or a cigar if you don't want larynx cancer, but you can get plenty of other cancers from it too. You can get mouth cancer from holding the smoke in your mouth. The population attributable risk for males using tobacco products and alcohol together was estimated to be 94%. Cigarette smoking was also an important risk factor for females, although the small number of female pairs precluded any meaningful detailed analysis of other possible risk factors. The relative risk for males for exposure to asbestos after the effects of cigarette smoking were controlled was 2.3. And the effects seemed restricted to cigarette smokers. Cigarette smoking is a lot of nickel. Then and the negative effects of asbestos seemed restricted to cigarette smokers. Gosh, do you remember what beta carotene supplements, vitamin A supplements did to cigarette smokers too with lung cancer? Caused them to have more lung cancer. Wow, it's weird that toxins are synergistic together, that they add up. And so if somebody's smoking cigarettes, they're getting more nickel. What toxic vitamin does nickel slow down the detox of? Oh, it slows down the detox of vitamin A. Oh, that would be weird that they develop more cancer. Or we could say this absolutely makes sense. The findings on asbestos were based on small number of cases and controls exposed and consequently were subject to large sampling errors. The estimate was consistent, however, with that from other studies and supported a causal role for asbestos exposure and cancer of the larynx. The risk, they're saying the relative risk for males for exposure to nickel was 0.9. They're actually, I want you to understand how hilarious this is. They're saying that males who were exposed to nickel actually had lower risk. I don't know how they're saying what the nickel exposure was, but they're definitely not figuring in that cigarettes have nickel, that alcohol has nickel, that asbestos has nickel. And then they say exposure to nickel. Well, all these people were exposed to nickel and everything was higher. So this is why it's like, why are they protecting nickel? Was this some statistical massaging that they did? Because we can't piss off the machines now. The machines are made of nickel. They don't want to rust. And machines aren't going to get nickel poisoning. So protect the machines and their nickel. Okay, so I just did this quick little AI search here just so you can see. Yes, asbestos, particularly chrysotile, often contains nickel. Nickel is naturally present in asbestos ores, typically associated with the serpentine rock matrix or found as awaruite, an iron-nickel alloy. Nickel exists in small amounts within asbestos deposits. Milled fibers of asbestos have nickel concentrations many times higher than crude fibers. Well, what do you think they were using in people's houses? Crude fibers or milled fibers? Mining and processing activities release nickel into the surrounding soil, where it can pose significant ecological and human health risks alongside the asbestos fibers themselves. So, energy drinks, alcohol, tobacco, asbestos. Wow, all of these things that cause cancer, they all have something in common. We now know what that is because they were not going to tell us. Okay, so now we're going to get into alcohol. Why is alcohol associated with cancer? I mean, is ethanol and acetaldehyde and acetic acid likely just all poisons in and of themselves? Yes. What does nickels do? It slows down your processing of alcohol. So it's going to stick around in your system longer, cause more damage. But let's get into so for those of you who get heartburn from alcohol, if you don't ever get heartburn from alcohol, I'm going to tell you're probably really nickel toxic and you've probably suppressed a lot of stuff in your system. And there's a reason why you're not reacting. So if you're just like, oh, you're just a bunch of babies and all this stuff. No, you actually get more in tune with your body and your body can throw out stuff faster. So let's just go. So I found this article here, tastetequila.com, and these are the high proofs. Wait, the high proof tequilas, the ones that have more alcohol in them. What are they made in? And remember, alcohol is acidic as a general rule. So we have an alcoholic liquid that is going to be in certain types of containers. Let's go look at these. So these are just, they're going over different brands and how they're made. So this one is rested for 6 months in stainless steel tanks. Gosh, do you think it could leach in that time? This one, open air stainless steel tank fermentation with champagne yeast and classical music, and then distilled in copper pot stills. So you can get your nickel and your copper. Let's keep going. Fermentation in open air stainless steel tanks without fibers and twice distilled in copper pots. Fermentation without fibers in enclosed stainless steel tanks and distilled in a hybrid stainless steel copper pot still. They're bragging about this. Fermenting in a stainless steel tank and distilled in a copper pot still. Closed stainless steel fermentation tanks in a special hybrid copper stainless steel pot still. Sammy Hagar's very first batch of Cabo Wabo tequila. Fermentation in stainless steel tanks using the brand's own proprietary yeast and then rested in stainless steel tanks before bottling. Rested for 6 months in stainless steel. That's all of them. So tequila, which is often known, tequila is the alcohol that is quite often said to make people angry and mean. Wow. That's weird that copper's in there. Wait, do I remember me going over research about how copper is higher in cancer patients and in many cancer tissues? So nickel's higher in cancer patients and nickel's higher in cancer tissues, and copper's higher in cancer patients and in cancerous tissues. And alcohol is associated with cancer. Weird. Okay, so let's go and check on vodka. Good old vodka. It's the cleanest. It's the cleanest alcohol. Vodka is primarily distilled and stored in stainless steel containers as the material's neutrality and durability preserve the spirit's character without altering its flavor. While copper is sometimes used in specific production methods, such as copper pot stills or reflux columns, to remove sulfur compounds and add complexity is generally avoided for long-term storage because it can catalyze oxidation and impart unwanted metallic or bitter off notes to the neutral spirit. So they don't use copper because you can actually taste the copper. You ever had a Moscow Mule in a copper cup? Or if you've ever drank out of a copper cup? Actually, somebody told me, I think it might have been in the live chat, somebody said they had a copper water bottle because they thought they were being healthy, right? And they left water in it, and I think they left it in their car, like in the heat of the summer, and then they drank. They said the water looked bluish, and they drank it, and they threw up a whole bunch. Oh, copper's good for you. No, stop it. Copper is a toxic metal, as they say in the research. If you have been deluded into thinking everybody's got copper deficiency, I'm sorry. It's going to end badly. Come back here when you're done and you figured out that you poisoned yourself based on bad advice. Go tell everybody else about the bad advice you followed, and so they don't do it. And then come here and we can help fix you. Okay, what is beer made in? Stainless steel is the industry standard for modern beer brewing. See, look at these giant stainless steel stills. Stainless steel, typically 304 or 316 grade. We'll go over that. The hybrid approach. Many modern breweries use stainless steel for fermentation and storage where hygiene is critical, and copper for kettles or condensers where heat transfer and catalytic properties are prioritized. Stainless steel is generally recommended for most applications due to durability and cost effectiveness, while copper remains a niche choice for specific aesthetic or traditional brewing goals, or for all those companies out there that are like practically trying to make the worst tasting beer possible, called IPAs. That might be their niche. They're like, we want to taste more horrible than everybody else. So, beer made in stainless steel. Is wine made in stainless steel? Yes, stainless steel is the most popular and standard container used in modern winemaking for fermentation, blending, storage, and aging. Stainless steel, 304. 304 stainless steel is typically 8 to 11% nickel by weight. Okay, what about 316 stainless steel? 316 stainless steel contains 10% to 14% nickel. So, funny thing, let's go over this. Unlike 304 stainless steel, which is 8 to 10.5% nickel, the higher nickel content in 316 contributes to its superior performance in corrosive environments. Okay. Oh, but here's where they lie to you. While 316 is often marketed as surgical or nickel-free for jewelry, it does contain nickel and is not suitable for individuals with severe nickel allergies unless specifically certified as nickel-free, which is rare for this grade. So it degrades. It degrades and puts nickel in your food and your drinks. So alcohol is poisoning you with stainless steel at least, at minimum, and copper too. Besides the fact that alcohol uses up your detox pathway enzymes and your detox pathway substrates, the things that run it. So, yeah, that is that. That was what I wanted to go over today. Let me get back here. So, oh, Joe, you posted another. Let me look at this one. Oh, yeah, Joe, let's show that. Show that. We'll go back to that one. You want to show your So Joe made this graph. So they had 204 cases of cancer, 204 matched controls. The 6.1 relative risk for cigarette smokers. So yeah, pipes were less. Asbestos was between pipes and cigars. Alcohol's up here. So yeah, it's all nickel. It's all nickel. So that's what we got there. So now I think that was it. I was going to go through the chats now. I think Joe posted a Joe, can you find that super chat you found? We got from Mac. There it is. Yes. Oh, wait, sorry. There it is. Sorry, Joe. I took it off. Joe, put it back on. Okay. Sorry about that. So thank you for the super chat, Mac. Thank you so much for everything you do. You're very welcome. I was wondering if you might be interested in diving deeper into research on ADHD and depression. I'd love to explore how we can focus our treatment plans on improving brain function. This is an important concept to go over. I do have a whole ADHD episode, and I think I have a depression episode. I think. Either way, the brain is we fix this. Like if we've had people have really bad times with mentally, emotionally on the nickel detox, and then as they come out of it, they're like, I can't tell you, like the low nickel diet has absolutely improved Kelsey and I's relationship. Like we are getting along better than we ever have. So we're like more than 2 years into it, and we're like getting closer now, as opposed to the normal thing of people's trauma and baggage and all that stuff tending to drag them down, and they're worried about, is they going to be this way and all this. We're going the opposite direction. Now, Kelsey, I had some rough emotional periods during the low nickel detox, and Kelsey definitely had some stuff because she took disulfiram, which, in the research she found, it actually literally deposits. They think it chelates nickel out of your system. It's actually depositing the nickel deeper in you. So if you were a Lyme disease sufferer, or you took disulfiram from a doctor for any number of reasons that it was never going to fix, it's an ALDH inhibitor. It's a straight detox inhibitor, but it also shoves nickel into your brain. Well, Kelsey was having some rough emotional times during her nickel detox. And yeah, it's so I can go over that. I don't know that we're going to find a lot on, I mean, we do have some stuff on ADHD. I mean, I have a whole, I think I have about 5 pages of nickel links to still go through. I just put them all in this little document that I'm saving for future live streams, because I only have so much time. And there is some connection to nickel in the autism world. Yes, absolutely. Depression, I don't know. That's a quick search, but they're probably not looking for it very much for that. But yeah, is it worth doing it? Yeah, but the thing is, this is the thing. People say, well, do you have a protocol for ADHD? Do you have a protocol for depression? Do you have a protocol for the big C word? No, we don't generally have protocols. We don't have disease-specific protocols, because for most people, like, somebody might have had more nickel exposure than somebody else. Somebody might have had more mercury exposure. Somebody might have a really terrible zinc deficiency, because let's say they went and they did chelation like my mom did, and my mom ended up with the lowest zinc in her blood that I've ever seen anybody have, because she did chelation, because it sucked the good minerals out of her too. So like all of these people, well, first of all, if people don't do any testing with the hair testing and the blood testing that we do, they have no idea where they're at. They have no idea how bad. Like, if I didn't do that blood test on my mom to see her zinc, I would have never known how much nutritional damage that IV chelation could do. So we fix the same, we do the same general approaches, like something, if you get the mercury out of your mouth, which is also probably nickel and copper. So fillings in your mouth, folks, if you don't know, those root canals and those fillings, if they're silver, they got mercury in them. They got nickel in them. Oh, Joe posted the ADD episode. It's 132. And they probably have copper in them too. So you're getting poisoned with mercury and copper and nickel all at the same time from so-called silver fillings. And yes, there's some silver in them too. But like, if I never had any of those, that's not a problem that I have to deal with. Do I still have to deal with if I have a mercury problem, if I have a copper problem, if I have a nickel problem? I still got to deal with all those. If somebody, we gotta address zinc deficiency and selenium deficiency and molybdenum deficiency, and you got to have enough flush niacin to run your detox pathways. And now we've got, we want to soak up the nickel and help get rid of that as quick as possible, so we don't just keep circulating it around. And that's what the Pectaclear and the Pectisol can help with. And so it's these same approaches. I mean, we really break it down to, do we have protocols for a specific disease? No, we have eliminate, minimize, or reduce the toxins coming in. And so we have specific, lists of those things coming in. Then we have facilitate the removal of the toxins from your body's storage areas, the liver, the body fat. Your body can store these toxins in any tissue. So we have kind of a general approach, like we are just trying to bind. We're trying to get the stuff out of there. We got the Pectisol that can go into the blood. We got the other binders that tend to stay in the gut, like zeolite and charcoal and alginate. And so we got those to grab onto that stuff, so you get rid of your stored stuff. And then we refill the nutrients that are depleted, because you need those things to both run your detox system and to protect you from the toxins within. And just to run the whole show. So, which is way fewer nutrients than most people think. So that's the approach. So each person may have areas that they need to focus on more. Like, let's say, as an example, somebody comes here from being a vegan. They're probably going to need to get more protein for a while. They're definitely going to need to get more zinc, and they're probably full of nickel and copper. So they need to work on those things in their diet, but it doesn't necessarily change the approach. This is why each person, this is why I kind of give, that's why I say I don't have protocols. We have a program that I can never know, even, as Kelsey's been going along, like she's looking at things that she did in her history that were where she got exposed to nickel, or like with the disulfiram problem, or where she was working, with her mom in the dental office, or, where she was making jewelry, or, there's a lot, and living in Idaho they have nickel in the well water there. So it's like all these things, you would never even tell a practitioner all of these things. And even still, all of those things are in the past. So if they're not happening anymore, the good news is that the damage from them is not continuing on. The bad news is whatever's in there and stuck is in there and stuck until we get it out. That's one of the things about toxic metals being such a big deal, including nickel and copper, is they don't break down. This is why nobody wants to talk about them, is they do not break down. They stay forever. It's a big problem. Whereas like they're finding bacteria that are breaking down plastics. I started to think, and again, I said this last episode, I am not pro plastic. However, and I could say, with all the plastic that people are using and drinking out of and storing food in and all this stuff, I'm starting to think that if plastic were as bad as some people say it is, people should be like croaking left and right. They're not from plastic. And I'm not advocating plastic, like avoid plastic when you can. However, nobody's talking about nickel, because how else are they going to heat things to high temperatures and not have it corrode, even though it's literally leaching into the food? I'm starting to really think I would love to go to be in a society where there's not as many things to choose from, and there's not as many fancy things and all this stuff, just so we could stop poisoning ourselves. A lot of people wouldn't really want that. They'd be like, well, I want my iPhone and I want my electric kettle and all, and they want all of these convenience things. So they've got people addicted to convenience and the new fancy things. And I'm kind of going, I'd be okay with, figuring out how to heat my water on the stove. That's fine. If I want it anymore. Now I go, I'm not going to be drinking coffee. I'm not going to be drinking energy drinks. I'm not going to be doing caffeine pills. I'm not going to be doing any of that stuff. So what do I need to, where am I going to heat water? What am I going to heat water for now? Now that I don't have to extract toxic compounds out of plants. So anyway, yeah. I can go over someday soon, maybe when the initial nickel stuff starts calming down, I'll redo some of my early vitamin A videos. I'll redo some of my condition videos, and I'll redo them, and I'll incorporate the nickel in them. It's just, yeah. I'll need topics for the future, but right now it's really just start on the start figuring out your low nickel approach, how you're going to attack it, whether you're going to kind of walk your way into it and do the protection first and then walk your way into it and go step by step, or whether you're going to just take a whole bite off and just do the whole thing and deal with the suffering. You got to hear from the testimonial today that it was rough. It was really rough for her. It was rough for me. It was rough for Kelsey. It was rough for a lot of people here. But she did turn around once we talked about the Pectaclear. She was a big fan of it. So let me look at, Joe has another super chat for me, but thank you for the super chat. Where are we? Oh, I can just hit that button. Sergio says, I get burnout and I only eat 7 foods. I get burnout a lot. I only eat 7 foods. Love your liver approved. Well, if you are tolerating some dairy, you may want to add some dairy. Like I said, you're shooting for 500 milligrams of calcium, less than 1,000 units of vitamin A. I forget what that is in micrograms. Joe, if you want to convert, I should know this, 1,000 units of vitamin A to micrograms. I think it's like 3,300 microgram or 330 micrograms. I forget. Anyway. But yeah, so no, the Sergio, one other thing to help with your food burnout would be definitely experiment with MSG, because MSG, folks, if you don't know this, like I was thinking about this. All these third world countries where we look at them as merkins and we're like, they don't eat hardly any meat. They hardly eat anything. Like they're eating rice all day or whatever other starchy foods they eat, and they're eating hardly any meat. And how do they do this? How do they send people to the Olympics? Like, how do they do this? What do they all use? They all use MSG. MSG makes all of your protein that you eat go further. It's in the research. I went over this in the MSG episode. So MSG literally takes all the protein that you eat and turns it into more. This is how all those third world countries eating hardly any protein don't seem to have tons of protein deficiency problems. The MSG does a lot of it. Oh, it's okay. So yeah, 300 micrograms. So 1,000 units, Joe got me the calculation. 1,000 units of vitamin A is 300 micrograms. If you're into the microgram thing, I'm not. So, okay. I want to make sure Brave 24, I see you. So Sergio, if you got to figure out the burnout, as you get better with, generally what I found is as people are getting better doing low nickel, they really start to lose their taste for a lot of other foods. Yeah, it's kind of like when you find out that certain foods have nickel in them, sometimes they kind of, as is popular to say, they give you the ick after that. You kind of look at them and you go, well, coffee's got nickel, alcohol's got nickel, cigarettes have nickel, like all these things, that chocolate's got nickel, all these things that people are literally addicted to. I haven't looked into nickel and addiction, but it really seems that all these things that people are getting addicted to often have significant amounts of nickel in them. And that as people are getting the nickel out of them, they are losing their taste for these things, or when they have them, they're getting the opposite reaction to it that they used to. They don't want it because it gives them symptoms, and it gives them they know that it's got nickel, and then they also get the effect of the nickel when they take it that they didn't get before. Because remember, you don't start detoxing nickel until you get enough of it out, not coming into you. You have to stop it from coming into you, and then your body starts getting rid of it. So, okay. Remember, the low nickel diet. I'm not saying it's a perfect diet. I'm saying we created this approach because everybody's trying to poison us with nickel. So we have to figure out a way with the food and the drinks and all of this stuff that we can not poison ourselves into cancer, right? They were saying 1 out of every 8 women in the US is going to get invasive breast cancer in their lifetime. 1 out of every 8. And they probably underestimated that number. But that's just one cancer in one gender. So So again, I cannot help if it's a limited food list. I'm just trying to make things work so that people get better, and we're getting people better. And could we find eventually there may be some like nutritional holes in what we're doing? Sure. We can't figure that out until we get there because nutritional deficiencies take a while. But people can keep eating, the love your liver approach is, okay. So Sergio, to give you some motivation, the lady who fixed her liver cirrhosis, diagnosed on imaging and labs, you want to know what she ate? She ate red meat and beans, the cowboy diet. She did that for, I don't know, a year. 2 foods. She was down to 2 foods. She chose to eat 2 foods. Fixed her liver cirrhosis. So that was the old love your liver where we were doing lots of beans. Now we're not doing that now, so I don't know what we would do, what she would do instead now. But the whole wanting lots of variety in our foods, that's not, you could get some seasonal variety in the past, but the whole idea of having lots of variety of foods and thinking that we're not getting enough entertainment with our food, that's a modern thing. That's not a traditional thing. So you got to figure out what will make it work for you. If you're like, I'm not eating enough different foods to entertain myself enough, because literally people, there's a new thing in the bodybuilding world. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but there's a really new, a newer approach to bodybuilding diets. So where they're trying to be big and muscular and lean. They never use the words low nickel, but these guys are doing beef and rice, chicken and rice, or eggs and rice. They're doing animal protein, which is low nickel, and rice, which is low nickel. And that's their rotation of I don't know how often they eat any one of those, but that was one guy I saw. That was his diet. And I've been seeing a lot of YouTube comments where they're just beef and rice, chicken and rice. And chicken and rice was the old bodybuilding diet, right? They added some broccoli so they could poop. That was the only reason they added the broccoli. They weren't adding the broccoli for, maybe for some crunch, I guess, but that's why they added the broccoli, was to poop. So people have been doing very restricted diets that have worked. No one ever talked about bodybuilders getting nutritional deficiencies on a chicken and rice and broccoli diet. Although I'm sure the nutritionists would look at it and go, "Oh my God," they'd have an aneurysm. You're going to be so deficient. And they seemed to be fine. And they were bigger and stronger than other people and had less body fat. Nickel is really a driver of body fat. I have no doubt of this anymore. So the issue with, you might want to look into, you could talk to Beth Martens and look into the issue, why you feel restricted when you have 7 foods, when there's people out there. I've had people out there who can only, they come to the Love Your Liver program, they can only eat meat. That's one of the problems with carnivore diet, right? It paints you into a corner where you can't get not just your meat. You can't get out of the corner because you eat anything else and you have bad reactions. We got him out of it with our basic. I think he was doing, for a while, he was doing beef, meat and psyllium husk to start detoxing, because again, carnivore diets do not detox you. And then over time, he was able to add some more. He couldn't take any supplements to start either. He was so toxic. Then he was able to start taking some more supplements. Then I think he's added some more foods since then. So if you got 7 foods, you're doing better than a lot of people. And just figure out variations on them, and definitely do not avoid the MSG. That will make everything so much easier. And it's good for you. MSG is good for you, folks. If you have a negative reaction to MSG, it's one of 2 things. You're either still really, really toxic, or you have a head issue, you have a mental issue about MSG because what you were taught. Could be both. Could be one or the other. But people have really, we here in the West, we have more, people will say, oh, glutamate drives autism. And it's we have more autism here than practically anywhere else. And we consume almost the lowest level of glutamate, and other countries don't have the autism, and they literally have extra shakers of MSG on the tables in restaurants. Riddle me that. I don't get it. So, and they eat less protein than we do. And we're like, we've got to eat more protein. And what they do MSG. So, especially folks, food is getting expensive, right? It just keeps getting more expensive. What's the most expensive food? Muscle meat, pretty much on a regular basis. Well, what if you wanted to save on groceries and eat some less muscle meat? Well, you might want to get on that cheap little amino acid supplement called MSG. And that will help the protein that you do eat go further. So, just an idea. So, let's see. Joe put something else on here. We're at 11. 12 o'clock. Okay. Oh, sorry, Joe, that my audio was garbling. Oh, Brave 24 is Gabe. No questions. Okay, so Gabe just said, oh no, they were just talking. Well, thank you for the super chat, Gabe. I appreciate it. Gabe's a big fan too. Oh, and Gabe, well, anyway. I thought about it as something like it was a little, I was going to say something, but then I thought medical privacy stuff and I shouldn't. So, okay. So anyway, let me look at the rest of the chats. And I'll see if I can find anything else here. We might be here for, if you have any super chats, post them. Did I miss any super chats? Joe, can you just check that I didn't miss any super chats? Oh yeah, Joe, I did that one. Sorry, I didn't post it. Where is there's my little scroller thing. Okay, so Sergio says, I love my 7 foods. I just don't get my low energy. I'm not sure. I know English is not your first language, Sergio, but with the we're gonna have something coming out that should help a lot with energy very soon. But in the meantime, I would definitely try the just work on more potassium. That's usually so 50-50 salt or potassium malate is one of my favorites. There is potassium glycinate out there if you do well with glycine. I would definitely work on potassium. Yeah. Okay, so let's go over. Okay, so for all you guys who said hi, hello. Just Andy said there's trace amounts of nickel in pollen. I don't doubt it. So but let me add to this though, folks. If you've had issues with orthorexia in the past, like where you're obsessed with eating properly, or like cheating is like you would never cheat on your diet, whatever diet you were on, you would never violate it because you're like that type, and you drove yourself into health issues because of it. As I've said before, I've said this multiple times. In one of the nickel allergy studies, they talked about people getting a bit of hypochondriasis or hypochondriacs. They were becoming hypochondriacs about like nickel. They were obsessing on it too much. Like, I don't want, if you go to a restaurant and they are pouring you're drinking water and they're pouring it out of what looks like a stainless steel pitcher to you. I'm not trying to get you to flip out and then not drink water. But like if we have acidic drinks like alcohol and coffee and citrus juices and stuff like that that are stored and held and those might be an issue. But it's really like we've seen some people really like spiraling in this whole nickel thing, and they're really becoming obsessive, and you're going to become a shut-in. You're not going to leave your house. I don't want that. The whole goal of this is for you to become more resilient and know about things and be able to go out and live your life and not be like a chronic disease shut-in or go outside and be so paranoid about stuff. If you're having issues like that already, it could be worse during the nickel detox because it messes with your brain. However, if you're stuck in that and you're not getting better, then you might need some help. Beth Martens is somebody who could help you with that. There's other people who could help you with these things. Whatever appeals to you. Just don't let this like drive you down a spiral or a hole, and then you're just like reacting to things that aren't even like. There was a guy who had nickel allergy. I remember reading on I Reddit has some good stories about nickel allergy, but they were saying that this guy was a chef. He has nickel allergy and he works in a kitchen, and they say he touches all the stainless steel stuff. He never has any problem. Okay, he literally knows he has a nickel allergy and he's touching stuff and he's not reacting. How you think about it is a big part of it. So if you kind of have this like, I'm a victim of scary nickel and scary nickel is everywhere and I can't do anything about it. Like, I can't fix that for you. You have to figure out what programming is running that's causing you to think like that. Because you should be able to like touch stuff. That's nickel allergy. The nickel skin sensitivity is a development out of toxicity. So if you get less toxic, the sensitivity to touching it should go away. Okay. So, but yeah, nickel and pollen, that would make sense as to why it sits there and then people have to blow their nose or sneeze it out or get it out. And there's vitamin A in pollen. Weird. Okay. Janet Satcher says, heard Dr. Smith, they were only about 20 good minerals. I'm going to say that was just an estimate, probably on a live stream where I was saying it live because I didn't think deeply about it. Does anyone know others? I have zinc, molybdenum, selenium, magnesium, calcium, sodium, potassium, iron, chloride, iodine. Iodine, we don't, again, I talked about iodine. We don't try to add iodine. A lot of these things we don't try to eat them, but we don't necessarily avoid them. Yeah, I'm not totally sure on what's the one, germanium. Germanium has some good results in cancer, but people are taking big doses of it. So germanium's another one that is a maybe. I think you pretty much went over all the ones that I concern myself with. Other ones we don't try to have people get them. So maybe it's not even 20, but that's a pretty good list. I don't know what else would be missing from that. So at least I don't think there's anything missing from that we try to address directly. Let's see. Kelsey, when Kelsey thought there was nobody in the chat, she was watching it on Joe's channel because we simulcast on Joe's channel. That's funny. Okay. Here. Reza Highlight. I'll just say it like that. What's the recommended shower filter to get nickel out of the water? That would be the Sante for Health. SANTE FORHEALTH. That's the one that gets the nickel out of the shower water. Kelsey has her nickel water tester, and she's been testing various things. She's trying to figure out how to test all sorts of cool things. Sandy. So I'm assuming Sandy, you don't mind me saying this. Sandy is the long testimonial today. So when I said I don't know if she's here or not. She said she's here. But that was the long testimonial. That was Sandy's. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Sandy is saying she also has a ton of new hair regrowth. So that's nickel. I'm going to do a nickel and hair episode. Definitely. Yeah. Oh, Joe posted the link to the iodine episode. Kelsey's doing some of the nickel. So Kelsey is doing some of the nickel tests today, possibly, with her fancy low-range nickel tester. And just so you guys know, somebody asked me, like, how do I get that? What does it cost? The machine, I went over it in a live stream. I think the machine itself was about $600. And the reagents that you have to have, the chemicals that you have to do the tests, was like another $250. So I think, yeah. So it's not just like, let me just buy one of those and do it. No, it's a bit more than that. Hold on, let me see what. Hold on, let me go to the actual live chat instead of just Kelsey said thank you to my puddin' for the nickel tester. You're welcome, babe. It's for science. So okay, let me get up here and I will. We had like 104 people watching live at once. That was cool. Let me find them. So I'm just going through the chat here. Oh, Kim Capel. Here, let me find that one. Did that one show up? It was very weird. Joe, I'm trying to find that. It was very weird from Kim Capel. It starts with I was very weird. I'm having trouble finding it in the Streamlabs. There it is. Thank you, Joe. It was very weird how I took my dog to the vets last week because of the heat wave. My dog's throat swelled up and the vet prescribed prednisone. And I watched last week's episodes later. It was about dogs. Yeah, that would be kind of a weird synchronicity. Definitely. Oh, yeah. So, okay, let me find that one for Kelsey. So, we'll have to do the study. Kelsey, did I get the right energy drink study? Was that the one you were looking at? Kelsey said every beverage but Coke allowed significantly less nickel absorption than water on an empty stomach. So what she's saying, so funny that Ray Peters, I mentioned them today, they think Mexican Coke is literally a health food. Coke increased the nickel absorption in the stomach higher than water. Every other drink was like orange juice, milk, whatever, was less than water in terms of the absorption rate. But Coke was higher. What does Coke have added to it? Phosphoric acid. Wait. When they mine phosphate fertilizers, what is commonly there in that the stuff they're mining? Oh, nickel. So nickel and phosphate have a definite reaction. So, yeah. I think I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Must be the nickel in the pollen. So, let's see. Oh, yeah, that was that. So this is what Kelsey was mentioning. Yeah, Kelsey, we're going to go over this specifically. It was 2 grams of pharmaceutical nicotinic acid at night, cutting half the fat out of fatty liver after 3 months without diet or lifestyle change. So I forget if it was 1,500 or 2 grams. I'm gonna go with Kelsey on this, but 2,000 milligrams, 2 grams of the pharmaceutical extended release nicotinic acid, flush niacin. It's not niacinamide. It's not NMN. It's not NR. It's not nicotinamide riboside or nicotinamide mononucleotide. It's not any of those. If you don't understand this yet, flush niacin, nicotinic acid, makes more NAD for less money than all the other things out there that they're trying to brag about you and get you to buy. They're ripping you off for something that is less effective, but they're happy to sell it to you because it's more expensive. So anyway, they gave them pharmaceutical nicotinic acid, which is slow release. Now, this means it's not as effective as the quick release stuff that causes the flush. The flush, let me help you understand this. You're not chasing the flush. You're not avoiding the flush. So taking pharmaceutical niacin is avoiding the flush. You're not trying to flush. You're not trying to avoid the flush. This is a simple concept, but a lot of people have trouble with it. What you are trying to do is to take flush niacin. But in this study, pharmaceutical flush niacin with the extended release stuff in it, and like I said, there's research showing the extended release causes most of the problems you see in the literature with flush niacin are caused by the extended release crap in it. The binders and the slow release stuff. Anyway, they still got 47%, I believe it was, of the fatty liver gone in 3 months, and they did not change diet or lifestyle or do anything else. Imagine what we can do. Oh, you mean like fixing cirrhosis in a woman? Yeah, that nobody else does. That's the kind of stuff we do here. Let's see. Oh, good morning, Matthew Jones. Kelsey was adding ADHD needs to focus on sleep and circadian normalization before anything else. So what do we just see messes up circadian rhythm regulation? Nickel. So all the buzzy health words out there, all these terms of mitochondria and circadian rhythm and all this research on nickel screwing up every single one of those. And why do we see people getting better in so many ways when they go on low nickel diet? These are not accidents. These are not coincidences. So let's see. Let's see. Matthew Jones said Ross River fever, mosquito breaks the liver, then the body struggles. I don't know. The bug-borne diseases, like Ebola is on alert again, right? Do you guys know about Ebola, why it won't ever spread? So Ebola comes from swampy areas of Africa. And the native folk there will eat animals that have died and they don't know the cause of the animal's death. It's never good. It's a good guideline to go by, that if you come across an animal and you don't know how or why it died, that you don't eat it. That's a general good rule. I mean, if you're in the zombie apocalypse and you're starving, yeah, you got to make a choice. But as a normal rule, don't eat dead animals if you don't know how they died or if you didn't kill it yourself. And somebody eats that animal and they get sick and they get sores and they die. And then, as is custom in that area, the dead body is then washed with bare hands. No gloves, no nothing. They wash the body with their bare hands over the sores and all that stuff. And they don't wash their hands very well there. And then those folks get Ebola. And this is why, whatever it is, this is why it never spreads past that area. This is why Ebola will never be worldwide, is because Ebola is caused by people eating things that they shouldn't and spreading whatever it is to the people who are literally touching their body fluids with bare hands and not washing it, and probably then going and eating with those same hands. So if it's a toxin, it could easily spread that way. They're literally rubbing the toxic sores. So this is why Ebola is not scary. It's not leaving that continent. It's not leaving that area very much unless those people travel. There are reasons for all of these things. But yeah, in terms of malaria, malaria actually, Anthony Mawson went over this about how malaria stirs up the vitamin A that's in the system already. And that's how it causes the problems. There is, if you look, let me see if I can find it real quick. I'll go Anthony Mawson. Here we go. So Joe, if you want to show this, the pathogenesis of malaria, a new perspective. Here we go. This was one of Anthony, I don't know if this is true, but this is one of Anthony Mawson's theories. The hypothesis proposes that the malaria parasites, emerge from the liver packed with vitamin A and use retinoic acid, the main biologically active metabolite of vitamin A, as a cell membrane destabilizer to invade the red blood cells throughout the body. So they would need vitamin A to be present. The characteristic hemolysis, that's red blood cell destruction and anemia of malaria, and other symptoms of the disease may thus be manifestations of an endogenous from within form of vitamin A intoxication associated with high concentrations of retinoic acid, but low concentrations of retinol. Retinoic acid released from the parasites may also affect the fetus and cause preterm birth and fetal growth restriction as a function of the membranolytic and growth inhibitory effects of these compounds, respectively. Subject to testing, the hypothesis suggests that parasite vitamin A metabolism could become a new target for the treatment and prevention of malaria. Now, Anthony got a much different understanding of malaria as he went on. This was 2013. So this may have been before. Yeah, this was before Anthony Mawson started getting on the low vitamin A train. But he was coming up with theories of vitamin A causing all sorts of diseases. So again, if something comes into your body and it stimulates the dumping, imagine dumping of vitamin A into the system, it can cause all sorts of problems. But that's just, that was his theory back then. Oh yeah. Kelsey just mentioned it. We'll just throw this out there as another little health tip. Your phone, folks. Your phone is a little microwave transmitter. You want it. Okay, so I understand that you use it as your alarm. Okay, so let's go through stages of this. Let's go through like how you can manage, because we all live in reality, right? Like I have kids. Kelsey has kids. Sometimes we may need to know about what is happening to the kids late at night, and your phone cannot be on airplane mode. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you folks who have decided, for whatever reason you decide to, it's okay, that your phone must be on all night. Okay? So first, as I'll go over at the end of the show, if you want the links at the end of the show, first put the EMF Solutions iCell chip on your phone. They have an iPhone one, which is the strongest one they have, and then they have a regular like Droid phone one. I have a Droid phone. Actually, my phone's right here. I have two of them on my phone. That's what these are. Two of those on my phone case. First, you should do that. That makes you'll notice that if you do put your phone to your ear to talk, it will feel much less hot. It will be microwaving your brain a lot less. And you'll probably just notice if you used to get those ghost vibrations in your legs from where you kept your phone in your pocket, and sometimes you wouldn't have your phone there and you'd feel like your phone is vibrating. That's some EMF stuff that's happened, some damage down there. But if you put those on, you'll start to notice that it doesn't happen anymore. So the EMF solution stuff, wherever you're going to have your phone, I suggest the EMF Solutions, the iPhone chips, the iCell chips. You can get I'll go over the free consult link for Sarah. She can take you through all this stuff. That should be for everybody's phone, in my opinion. Next, we have, okay, let's say you just use your phone as an alarm. You use it as your clock and you use it as an alarm. Well, your phone has to be on. I have learned that if your phone is off, it will not turn itself on to give you an alarm ding. Okay. So if you need your phone as an alarm, if that's what you've decided is your alarm at night and you don't have to get calls, airplane mode is on, turn your location off, and then you're pretty okay. Okay. So then your phone can be on and you can hear the alarm and it's not sending Wi-Fi. I would still turn off the Wi-Fi. A lot of these companies, they show you things on their things. Like Kelsey just got a modem where she went through all the software in the background. It said the Wi-Fi was off everywhere. She put the EMF meter to it. It is still pumping out all the Wi-Fi. She talks to customer service. They tell her it should be off. And she's like, the EMF meter, listen to the EMF meter. It's going crazy. So it's almost like they're trying to lie to us about Wi-Fi and stuff like that so they can leave it on all the time. So they could, I don't know, monitor our locations in our homes. You might want to look that up if you don't know about that yet. Yeah, they can basically create a map of you and your house from Wi-Fi signals. So it'd be weird that they were trying to like Comcast, I think, requires you to leave your Wi-Fi on, or you get some benefit. So people who on their phones with their Wi-Fi on can tap into your Wi-Fi and use the signal. So that's supposed to be a benefit for everybody. No. Okay, so anyway, I generally turn the Wi-Fi, I turn the location off on my phone all the time, and I turn the Wi-Fi off on my phone all the time. And if I need to turn them on, and Bluetooth, turn off Bluetooth. Those Bluetooth earbuds, I swear, people, as Kelsey was saying, I can't imagine how people ever thought that having a phone putting out a signal and then having a Bluetooth putting out a signal back and forth and carrying them both on your body was going to be healthy. And I was like, well, that's a really good point. I hadn't put it as two signals. I was just like, I don't want the Bluetooth right by my brain. But okay, so when you don't use those, I would highly suggest turning off the Bluetooth, turning off location, turning off Wi-Fi. If you choose to turn those on, that's your call. But that's if you're going to be asleep at night, airplane mode, and I turn those things off. And that's how you could have the alarm on. Still, it would be best the furthest away from your head that you are able to keep that phone, even if it's on airplane mode and it's got the other things off. It's still an electrical device. It's probably best to just move it as far away from your head while you're trying to sleep as possible. Okay, so we got airplane mode and as far away from your head. Okay, then we have, let's say you have kids. I have a 17-year-old daughter and a 15-year-old son. These are the years where you really don't, I want them to be able to get a hold of me in an emergency at night. Like my daughter got a flat tire. I love my daughter. She's a dancer though. She's very girly. She has no idea how to change a tire. And I'll be honest, I haven't gotten around to teaching her. I don't know if she'd do it anyway. You know, there's some of those girly girls who are just not going to do it. And, you know, okay. Not everybody's like Kelsey, who's going to like do chemistry and fix things around the house like she does. So it's okay. So anyway, she actually had instructions to, if I was asleep, because I used to do the airplane mode and even literally turn off my phone. She had instructions to call my brother because my brother stays up really late and has his phone on all night. He sleeps with it on and too close to his head, but what am I going to do? At least he's got the things on it. So there's that. But anyway, yeah, she got a flat tire. She called him and then he woke me up and then we figured out a way to help her. But after that, I kind of went, you know what? I need to have my phone on. And then Kelsey had a little bit of an emergency once. And I think I had started turning my phone off again. And she goes, I'd really like for you to have your phone on late at night in case I need to get a hold of you. So this is the reality of today. We don't have most people don't have landlines. And you want to be, I want to be available for my family. So what you do, you can do this. I don't know if you can do this on iPhones, but you would turn off all the extra stuff on your phone, right? So I turn off location, I turn off Bluetooth, I turn off Wi-Fi. And then what you do is you turn off mobile data. So this means you're turning off the internet and all the apps pinging everything all night. So you're turning off the mobile data. So all you have is the cellular service. So the only people who can get through to you are people who are calling you or texting you. And then you put it as far away from your bed and your head as you are practically able to. Like I have the volume on my phone, the ring volume jacked up, and I'm putting it at least 8 or 10 feet away from my bed. So, but I still got to be able to hear it. I wake up to it pretty easy. I'm a pretty, I don't want to say a light sleeper, but I definitely wake up quickly to noises like that. So that's how you can do, those are the different things. So if you need your phone on at night, so you got to tell people like, don't send me a telegram, don't send me a signal, don't send me, like the only things you're going to get in the middle of the night is texts or phone calls. If you do the cellular data or you turn off mobile data. Kelsey taught me that. So, yeah. And then if you got to do the in-between one, if you need your alarm or your clock, then you do the airplane mode and you still put it as far away from your head as you're willing. Okay? Hope that helps. Nothing's perfect these days. You don't get to have perfection. Like if you want to have other people in your life that you care about and you want to help when they need you, stuff happens in the middle of the night. If you're not available to help them, you know. So Fernando asked about coconut water in terms of nickel. Coconut water on Nickel Navigator, on the information we have, coconut water nickel wise seems to be fine. Coconut milk, the white stuff, you know, whether you call it what I think they call it coconut milk. Is there another name for it? Anyway, any of the white, so I don't know if they call coconut juice. I don't know if that's just coconut water specifically, but anyway, the kind of like off-white, you know, the white-ish coconut water, coconut juice, if that's what you want to call it, that seems to be okay. The more pulp you get in it, the more nickel issues you're going to get. That's why coconut milk is very high in nickel. So I wouldn't eat coconut flour. I wouldn't eat coconut meat. I wouldn't eat coconut milk. Coconut water, coconut juice seems to be fine. But then they're putting in the Tetra Paks a lot of times. Those Tetra Paks have aluminum in the liner at the very minimum. So, but I don't think coconut water is too acidic. So, yeah, Kelsey was saying coconut water runs the gamut from low to very high, so nobody knows. I think, Kelsey, that was the pattern I saw when I really looked at it, especially after the early morning I was driving to Phoenix and we had some of this stuff. They have a Coke at Costco. It was coconut water mixed with some coconut milk. And I had it, and I felt myself getting nickeled. I felt my stomach go wonky on the drive. And then I looked up the Nickel Navigator, and it seemed like all the coconut milk stuff was very high and the coconut water seemed to generally be low. So that's my take on it. Okay. Oh, Kelsey's going to test her powdered coconut water. Okay. Kelsey would know this better than I would. Are pharmaceutical autoclaves made of nickel stainless steel? I'm sure they are. If anything that's stainless steel, like almost nobody. Okay. The thing you must understand about 18/0 stainless steel, this is not the Homa Chef. The Homa Chef is 21/0, and it seems to be, it's better than the 18/0 stainless steel. But 18/0, when you were looking at the when we're talking about the 304 and the 316 stainless steel, right? The more nickel they added, the less corrosion they had. So for people who want their equipment to last longer and they don't understand the impact on health, they're going to generally pick stainless steels that have higher nickel. But would they probably be using, I mean, if there's nobody purposely out there using 18/0 a lot, because the 18/0, which means zero nickel in it, stainless steel, the 18/0 corrodes faster. So they don't tend to use it. Whereas the stuff with more nickel corrodes less slowly. So in the pharmaceutical industry, because they don't care about us, and maybe they would want more nickel in their stuff. Nickel slows detox. It means the drug sticks around longer in your system. I don't think they'd care about nickel. So Rebecca Oliver says, I've seen protein powder from nutritional yeast advertised as an alternative to animal and vegetable protein powders. Would this be better or / worse than the whey/pea protein, or just trading one bad for another? I don't want to eat yeast. I don't want to. Yeast has been shown in a study that I went over many live streams ago. Yeast. So when they had animals that, like mice, that they gave a small amount of vitamin A to and yeast, versus the mice they gave a high dose, like a toxic dose of vitamin A to, they saw that, and they did this with a bunch of foods. They saw that the mice who got the smaller amount of vitamin A and the yeast got the same type of toxicity damage symptoms as the ones that got tons of vitamin A. So basically, yeast increases the damage that vitamin A does to you. So no, yeast, feeding people yeast protein powder is like another, just a couple steps away from eat the bugs. Like eat the yeast, eat the bugs, eat the cheap things that we can grow and feed you that are not real human foods. So I don't want it. Okay. Okay, so let me see. CPG says metals are savers and or killers. Bring back clay pots. Sounds good to me. You just got to make sure that the clay you're getting isn't full of like Chinese lead or whatever. You know, that's the problem with clay and ceramic that I'd want to make sure of. I don't know if any of it's a problem, but I'd want to make sure of that there's no lead in it. Okay. Oh, wait, CPG said, I thought radiation was the main thing that accelerated cancerous tissue, but it may be the reaction of the metals instead. Kelsey found an amazing paper on nickel reacting to light and to magnetism that I'm going to go over in a future episode as she understands it a little better and she can explain it to me. Some of it we may just be going, and this relates to space weather. That's a crazy paper. And it was done a long time ago. And one of the guys was at the Rockefeller Institute. So he's literally looking at how nickel responds, the antibodies on a slide, a nickel slide, and there's antibodies. And he's looking at how it reacts to like solar radiation during an eclipse and like, magnetism. Magnetic fields applied to it. And this is crazy. I haven't read the whole paper yet. Kelsey's been diving into it, but they know a lot about nickel. Yeah. So when we're talking about radiation, what if radiation is another nickel thing that they're pushing, that they're affecting? So yeah. Beth, I did not talk about that yet. I'm saving that. I was not ready for that today. Okay, so wait, I think we already went over 132 was the ADD, ADHD episode. Okay, so for those of you who are in the Love Your Liver program, or if you wanted to join, Beth does a free Deprogramming Your Health group each week inside the Love Your Liver. So all you got to do is be a member. It's no additional cost. Once you're a member, there's no additional cost. But she's doing a releasing detox symptoms in her Deprogram Your Health session tomorrow. And as she says, nickel is mentally formidable. That is putting it mildly. But yeah, so the more, as I've said before, if you can work on mental stuff and you fix a mental thing, just remember, you get immediate relief. You get like immediate, almost maximal relief immediately. Some of it still takes a little while, probably as you realize that you've changed and that it's okay to be better. But like I said, I've done a couple sessions with Beth. It really helped all sorts of aspects. It helped how I deal with space weather in terms of my symptoms that come on when I do have space weather stuff. It's much easier now. When I'm getting symptoms from, let's say, dumping or whatever, it's different now. It's much better. So I highly recommend, if you want to work with Beth privately, or if you want to get into if you're in the Love Your Liver program and you haven't gone to the Deprogramming Your Health sessions, highly recommend it. Okay. Oh yeah, some people were talking about neurotransmitters. Nickel depletes all your happy chemicals, including dopamine. I don't know if I went over that paper already, but nickel depletes serotonin, nickel depletes dopamine, nickel depletes noradrenaline, which then depletes your adrenaline too, which you do need those things. You don't want to live on them, but you do need them. So nickel depletes all your neurotransmitters, which basically just means it's destroying your nerves. Oh, wait, nickel causes neuropathy. Oh, that starts to make sense now, doesn't it? Okay. So, well, I'll just hit on this real quick. Robert Bruce Carter says, anyone else need more salt and less potassium during nickel detox? I've heard both. So let me see what, Kelsey commented on this too. Yes, Robert, we've heard that in the research indicates that nickel messes up water and electrolyte balance. I've heard of, actually, I think I heard Dagmar, who's a big fan, saying that she feels like she needs a lot more potassium than she did before. Maybe it was maybe it was an alginate thing. She may have been using sodium alginate or something like that. But anyway, so we've seen people have both. They want more sodium, they want more potassium. So again, this is why I don't have protocols, is because if I tell everybody, because let's say this is the way a lot of practitioners do it, they're like, this is the way I felt. So if I was like, oh, I needed more sodium, so pretty much everybody else is just like me and they all need more sodium. Or even if you have a man talking about what women need and they're not the same, just like we see in the research, the research has said that nickel detox is slower in women. So if the guy's telling, oh, you should be better, faster, like I'm at a better level quicker than Kelsey was. This is just the way it works. So that's why we don't want to just, it's good to see patterns, but it's also just good to know, like, there's some people that react this, let's say most people react this way and some people react this way, just so you know that, like, you're still in a group. You're not like alone out there, but we do have atypical reactors, as we call them. So yeah. Oh, Kelsey was showing this for depression. There's a study showing that morning sun gazing is as effective as antidepressants. Yeah. Which is interesting, finding the nickel paper where they actually measured things during a solar eclipse, which was really interesting. Okay. Wait, I think I may have gone through all of the chats. Wait, there we go. But yeah, you guys out there, I've said this many times before, 99.9% of the supplements out there are garbage and likely bad for you. There's an article that came out recently saying that they're estimating that 1 out of every 5 cases of liver failure coming into the emergency rooms is related to supplements. Most supplements are trash, garbage, and are bad for you. Every multivitamin out there is bad for you. It's bad for you. More than half the crap in it is literally bad for you. So for people to come out, and so now you've got, it's just like I said before, is the funny joke about, okay, so everybody became afraid of like carbohydrates. So then you get the keto, and they're eating tons of fat and they're causing themselves problems from that. And then you get the people, then they swing to their side and they don't feel good there. And then they start going, oh, it must be all the animal protein and all the animal fat I'm eating. So then they swing over and they become vegan. And then maybe they try to find some weird middle ground and they're doing Weston Price. Or then they swing back to all muscle meat carnivore. Oh, the mistake I made was eating organ meats and too many eggs and too much dairy. Because there are no long-term nose to tail people. They all quit. They all get vitamin A toxic and probably nickel toxic and copper toxic from eating liver and detox organs. So they swing from these extreme to extreme to extreme. And then as I joked, I said, what's going to become a trend is fasting. Because if you've eaten all these extremes and none of them worked, then all of a sudden, what's your final solution? Eat nothing. This is the answer, right? They're so smart. And then you have pharmaceutical people, the normies taking the drugs. Okay. And then you have the people who graduated from that and they start coming over to the natural side. And then they're taking all the supplements. So you have like all the pharmaceuticals and all the supplements. God forbid you do both all at once. That's going to be really rough on your liver. But then you have like the new splinter group, which is no pharmaceuticals and absolutely no supplements, which is like going, I don't know. Is that full retard? I don't know. They've decided to say no to everything. And now what are they going to do when they don't feel well? Because they haven't figured out the diet thing yet. They got no tools left. This is the ultimate confusion that the bad guys want you to have. Don't take the drugs. They don't mind if you don't take the drugs, really. They don't mind. They know you're going to get sick anyway. And then what do people do when they're desperate? They go to their doctor. What else are they going to do? There's no like local health expert who's going to help these people, who's going to go to their house and when they're dying of a fever to do anything. What are they going to do? Take some white willow bark? Okay. That'll probably work. Anyway, so they want you to be completely confused so that you don't take any supplements. And then, I mean, either people are taking tons of drugs or they're taking tons of supplements or maybe both, or now there's no supplements, no drugs, which is like the fasting equivalent. You can be intelligent about supplements. That's what we do here for you. And we seem to find these crazy supplements like niacin that can reduce your liver fat by half in 3 months. Why are they not recommending niacin anymore? Probably because it works, because it actually helped people get healthier. They brought statins in, which ruin your health, which keep you in the medical system. Or then you can go take red yeast rice, which is a statin. It's literally a statin. All to fix cholesterol, which is there's two things about cholesterol, folks. High cholesterol is a toxin binder. So if you have high cholesterol, it means you are toxic. The good news is you can make enough cholesterol to bind the toxins. It's kind of like being fat. If you are able to make body fat, you are able to make a storage area for the toxins. So think of cholesterol and body fat as they have similar goals to help you stay alive. But then we have the other side, which is unable to make body fat, the chronically underweight people, and they can be low cholesterol at the same time. That's not good that they're low cholesterol. It's not good that they're underweight. People might be like, well, I wish I was skinny like you, but that's not the point. Okay. So they're underweight and maybe they don't make enough cholesterol. That's a sign that their system is like not working. That's a worse sign than being overweight and high cholesterol. This is like the over and under types. The unders are in worse shape. That's just the way it is. So they're both not good. But if you took somebody who was in the overweight camp and the high cholesterol, and you bring them down with good diet and all the lifestyle and all that stuff, and they then actually get to the low cholesterol point and the normal weight, they earned that by becoming less toxic. So there's earning it, and then there's being in a total dysfunctional state where they're an undertype, and they might even have low vitamin A, low cholesterol, low body weight. That's not good. Everything's stuck in their liver. They're not able to make body fat storage to take the ease off their liver, to take the strain off their liver. So these things are important to understand. Let's see. Well, I think we're almost. Joe, did any super chats show up? I didn't see. No video. Okay, good. So I think we're done. I got to get to the inner circle. So go give some people, advanced stuff. Anyway, let's wrap this up, Joe. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to go over our little closing stuff here, which I finally redid it. So first, nutritiondetective.com. This is our main website. So there we have our normal shop. The shop is where we sell our supplements and various other sundries items, whatever you want to call it. But that's for people who are not in the Love Your Liver program. We have the VIP store there. The VIP store is for those who are in the Love Your Liver program, and they get discounts on all the things we sell there. And then if you wanted to get into the Love Your Liver program to get the basics, like I said, I'm still working on adding all the nickel toxicity stuff there, but all the nickel toxicity stuff is here on YouTube for you right now. But in the Love Your Liver program, that's the original Love Your Liver program that we do. That's the social network. That's where you can find Beth's Deprogramming Your Health group. That's where the office hours are for people who do consultations with Kelsey or Nathan or I. And then that's basically, there's lots of things going on inside the Love Your Liver program. Then there's consultations if you want to work with Kelsey, doing the hair test and the blood test, which, just so you know, the people we talked about, Sandy Joe Foreman, she did the consult with Kelsey. The lady I was mentioning with the liver cirrhosis, she did that with me. Like, this is our best way to help you. And if you decide to work with us on a consultation, you get free lifetime membership to the Love Your Liver program. So there's that. And then finally, one newer link we have on the website is the instructions link. And that is a drop-down menu of instructions for all of the supplements that we sell. So if you want to know how to use them more than just the one line on the bottle, that's where you go. Okay. As I just mentioned, the Love Your Liver program was what we was just talking about. You can find it directly at members.nutritiondetective.com, or you can find it under the membership tab on that main website. If you are interested in our my free email course, you can go to madnessofmodernnutrition.com. If you want to get our email newsletters where we announce, like flash sales and stuff like that, that's how you get on that list. Also, you can find that on the main website at the very top of the screen where it says like subscribe to our Madison Modern Nutrition course or whatever it says up there. Okay, so now we'll run through the social media. YouTube. This is probably where most of you are watching this. YouTube.com/nutrition detective. Look on the live tab on the main website. We got 3 things I'll talk about on the main website. We got one, which is the live tab. That's where you'll find most of these videos that I do. You'll also find the videos tab, which is where when I do a pre-recorded one or I have to edit something out because I said a naughty word, you'll find those under the videos. Then there's also on the main page is the Toxic Bile Paradigm series, episodes 231 to 233 that I did with Beth Martens, which I'll link just a little bit below. Now, next, Rumble. If you wanted to find all of the episodes more in order, then you would go to Rumble. If you wanted to see episode 198, which was not allowed on YouTube, that is there. If you want to find, if you want to find episodes without any editing or any of that stuff, Rumble's the place for it. That's our backup channel. Then we have Twitter. I'm on there as NutriDetect. We're going to be doing a lot more shorts and reels very soon. I'm going to be getting out a lot more shorts and reels on all these social media places. So just watch for them, subscribe. And then if you see it, make sure to like it and do all the stuff. Oh, if you're here today watching this on YouTube, make sure if you're doing it on your phone, or if you can go replay this on your phone, make sure to find the hype button. I think you hit the little 3-dot thing under the video. Like if you were watching it right now, hit the little 3-dot thing, and under there is just like hype. Hit that. That is how you help people these days on YouTube. The hype button helps a lot, and just watching more of the videos helps. So that's Twitter. Instagram, I'm on there as the.realnutritiondetective. Facebook, same thing, the.realnutritiondetective. TikTok, Nutrition Detective. And Substack is drgarrettsmith.substack.com. Now, I was mentioning the Toxic Bile Paradigm and Beth. So Beth talked about her weekly group. So she does the weekly no-cost Deprogramming Your Health group inside the Love Your Liver program. So you have to be a member. Just remember, the Love Your Liver program is not like all the other places out there where you got to pay a monthly fee. It's a one-time fee for lifetime access. Okay? Unless you decide to be a troll in there, and then you get booted out for a lifetime. So this is I keep it on the up and up in there. You're not there to deal with a bunch of people who think they know everything about health when they're obviously sick. That's why they're there. If they knew everything about health, they wouldn't be in there. But if somebody comes in and tries to tell everybody everything they know about health and how they're all doing things wrong, that's not the place for it. You can go to Reddit and do that. Okay. But if you wanted to work with Beth in a 30-minute zero-cost session to find out of her courses, of her program trainings, of her individual sessions or one-on-one stuff, that's the link to work with Beth. And then I did that the 231 and 233 is the Toxic Bile Paradigm series that she interviewed me for. So that was really cool. The Reviv Mouthguard. This is something that can help with basically reshaping your skull, should you be interested in that. And I went over the first episode here. I went over to 238 with Ken Lever. He designed the Reviv Mouthguard. I use it every night. Like I feel like I'm missing something if I don't have it in my mouth at night. It's one of those things where like, it's not necessarily like comforting. It's just like my body wants it. And I've worked my way up from the normal sizes up to the R3. And now I'm on the extra large R3 to really open up the palate and stuff like that. But anyway, in 239, episode 239 of the Love Your Liver I went over how toxins change the shape of your skull. And the idea there is if we detox and we get these toxins out, there may not actually be forces on our skull that we can create to reshape our skull, to get the proper shape back. You can do thumb pulling, you can do, mewing, you can do Revive, you can do them all. I think they're all beneficial. If we don't get rid of the toxins though, the toxins are likely going to try to keep pulling us back. So that's how they work together. Okay. Sperti lamps. If you don't have the sun and you don't have or choose not to do tanning beds, the Sperti is a home option that you can do. These are our affiliate codes if you want to use them. The Fiji tanning lamp is a bit more for tanning, which helps reduce UVA, helps reduce vitamin A in your skin. UVB helps you make vitamin D. And then the vitamin D sun lamp is more UVB, which helps you make more vitamin D, and less UVA, which doesn't oxidize vitamin A as much. So either one of them work. You don't need to, you can pick whichever one you want. So my GLASP, Joe helps with this part too. And so if you see my studies that I link during the show and you go to the links on the Google Doc, well, I mean, if you wanted to see those, if you wanted to see my highlights, you go to that GLASP link down there, and that will show you all the highlights of all the studies that I've ever highlighted. So if you want to find something, you go in there and search the word nickel, and it'll show you all the highlights that I've made that have the word nickel in them. So that's kind of cool. If you're interested in looking through research or seeing if I've talked about studies that have something in it, that's where you can go for that. So to wrap it up, I am Dr. Garrett Smith, the Nutrition Detective, and today's show was nickel, alcohol, and cancer. Are there hidden risks? And we went over real recovery stories and some live Q&A. Episode 257. We are getting so close to 260, which will be 5 years straight with no weeks missed. And Joe's got the new graphic there. Thank you, Joe. And yeah, so again, just keep an eye out. There should be within a week or two, we should be coming out with lots of new cool reels that you can share with people that will likely help show other people the light of what we're doing. And yeah, it'll be a lot more easy to digest than these 2, 3, 4 hour live streams. So, okay. Hope you all have a great week. Bye now.